Part 2. Adebayo awoke with a start, his head pounding and his mouth dry as the Sahel. He blinked, trying to orient himself in the dim light. He was still in the shrine, lying on the cold stone floor. But something was different. As his eyes adjusted, he realized the shrine wasn't as decrepit as it had seemed before. The walls gleamed with fresh paint, depicting scenes of masked figures dancing in frenzied circles. The air was thick with the scent of incense and something metallic that made his stomach churn. "Folake?" he called out, his voice echoing in the chamber. There was no response. Adebayo struggled to his feet, his legs shaky beneath him. He stumbled towards the entrance, desperate for fresh air and sunlight. But as he reached the archway, he froze in shock. The world outside was not the one he remembered. Gone was the dense Nigerian forest. Instead, he saw a vast cityscape stretching to the horizon, but it was like no city he'd ever seen. Towering structures of impossible geometry reached into a sky that pulsed with colors that shouldn't exist. Strange, winged shapes darted between the buildings, too large to be birds. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Folake's voice came from behind him, making him jump. Adebayo whirled around. Folake stood there, but she too had changed. Her skin shimmered with an otherworldly iridescence, and her eyes were completely black, like pools of liquid night. What have you done to me?" Adebayo stammered, backing away. "Where are we?" Folake's laugh was musical, but with an undercurrent that sent chills down his spine. "I've opened your eyes, my love. This is the world as it truly is, hidden behind the veil of human perception. We're still in Lagos, but the Lagos that exists alongside your mundane reality." Adebayo shook his head, trying to deny what he was seeing. "This isn't real. It can't be." "Oh, but it is," Folake said, stepping closer. "And you, my darling Adebayo, are going to help me bring this world into the light." Before he could react, Folake's hand shot out, gripping his arm with inhuman strength. Her touch burned like ice, and Adebayo cried out in pain. When she released him, he saw a mark on his skin, a complex symbol that seemed to writhe and shift as he looked at it. "What is this?" he gasped, scratching at the mark. "A gift," Folake replied, "and a binding. You're part of our world now, Adebayo. There's no going back." With that, she turned and walked out of the shrine. Adebayo, driven by a mixture of fear and morbid curiosity, followed her into the impossible city. The streets were crowded with beings that defied description. Some looked almost human, save for extra limbs or eyes in impossible places. Others were so alien that Adebayo's mind recoiled from trying to comprehend them. They paid him little attention as Folake led him through winding alleys and across plazas paved with stones that pulsed with inner light. "Where are you taking me?" Adebayo asked, his voice barely a whisper. "To meet the others," Folake replied without turning. "Those who, like me, walk between worlds. We have big plans, Adebayo, and you're going to play a crucial role." They arrived at a massive structure that looked like a twisted version of the National Theater. Inside, a group of figures waited in a chamber that seemed to defy the laws of physics, with staircases leading to nowhere and doors opening onto infinite voids. "Welcome, Adebayo," a voice boomed, belonging to a tall, regal woman with skin like polished ebony and hair that moved of its own accord. "I am Yamoja, and we've been expecting you." Adebayo's knees went weak. Yamoja, the mother goddess of the Yoruba pantheon. This couldn't be real. And yet, "You see, Adebayo," Folake explained, her voice taking on a lecturer's tone. "The old gods never truly left. We simply adapted. The world changed, and so did we. But now, it's time for us to reclaim our place in the hearts and minds of mortals. And you want me to help? Adebayo asked, his mind reeling. Why me? Yemoja smiled, and it was both beautiful and terrifying. Because, child, you have a gift for creation, for bringing ideas to life through your, what do you call it, code? Adebayo nodded numbly. We need that gift, Folake continued, to bridge the gap between our world and yours, to create a platform that will allow us to reach millions, to whisper in their ears and show them glimpses of the truth. You want me to code an app? For gods? Adebayo said, almost laughing at the absurdity of it. Precisely, Yemoja confirmed. An app that will be our Trojan horse, our way of slipping past the defenses of the modern world. And you, Adebayo, will be its architect. Part of Adebayo wanted to refuse, to run screaming from this nightmare. But another part, a part that grew stronger with each passing moment, was intrigued. The challenge, the power, the chance to be part of something truly extraordinary. And if I say no? He asked, already knowing the answer. Folake's smile was razor sharp. My love, that mark on your arm isn't just for show. You're bound to us now. You can work with us willingly, or... She left the threat unspoken, but Adebayo's imagination filled in the horrifying blanks. I'll do it, he heard himself say, as if from a great distance. The assembled gods and spirits cheered, the sound shaking the very foundations of reality. Adebayo felt Folake's arms wrap around him, her lips brushing his ear. I knew you'd make the right choice, she whispered. Now, let's change the world. Over the next weeks, or was it months, time seemed to flow differently in this realm. Adebayo threw himself into his work. He coded like a man possessed, which, in a way, he supposed he was. The app took shape under his fingers, a masterpiece of programming that blended cutting-edge technology with ancient magic. On the surface, it looked like just another social media platform, but hidden beneath the mundane features were gateways to the other side. Users would catch glimpses of the true world in their feeds, hear whispers of forgotten languages in their headphones. Slowly but surely, the veil between worlds would thin. As he worked, Adebayo found himself changing. His perception of reality became fluid, shifting between the mundane world and the realm of gods and spirits. He began to understand the language of birds, to see the ley lines of power that crisscrossed the earth. And through it all, Folake was by his side, guiding him, teaching him, loving him in her own terrifying way. But even as he embraced this new existence, a small part of Adebayo remained human. That part watched in horror as the app spread like wildfire, as more and more people fell under its spell. He saw the chaos it wrought, the minds it broke, the lives it destroyed. And he began to wonder, had he made a terrible mistake? The night before the app's final phase was set to launch, Adebayo sat alone in his coding sanctuary, staring at the lines of reality-warping code. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, trembling slightly. With a few keystrokes, he could set in motion events that would change the world forever. Or, having doubts, my love, Folake's voice purred from the shadows. Adebayo turned to face her, his heart racing. Folake, I'm not sure we should do this. The consequences are necessary, she cut him off, her eyes flashing dangerously. The world needs to wake up, Adebayo. Needs to remember the old ways, the true ways. You've seen the power we offer. Don't tell me you want to go back to your small, limited existence? Adebayo hesitated. The rational part of his mind screamed at him to stop this madness. But the part that had tasted godhood, that had walked between worlds and glimpsed the infinite, that part longed to see it through. No more doubts, Folake said, placing her hand over his on the keyboard. It's time to fulfill your destiny. Together, they pressed the enter key. To be